Awesome!
Acknowledge me.
Not today.
So shut up.
Los Angeles, Brooklyn, Montreal, the whole world.
Oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling for my hands and toes. There's some shit that I can't let go. So just stay tuned for the rest of the
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Heal the Ring podcast. We are going to talk TNA Impact Hard to Kill. It is the review. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. We always have a saying, if you ain't down with the Heal the Ring podcast, we have 2 words for you. Just subscribe. Let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. This weekend in Las Vegas at the Grand Palms Casino, I watched it with a lot of anticipation. I'm going to give you my thoughts real quick with the whole card. Looking at the venue that they picked out, it on TV, aesthetically wise, it looked phenomenal. This is, and again, it's not a comparison of companies, of wrestling company. If you like wrestling, you're going to love wrestling all around, no matter if they wrestle in a high school gym. But when you have a crowd that wants your product and you know that you're trying to reestablish yourself, I really enjoy what Impact did. I believe it was a 2,500 strong, and the place aesthetically wise looked phenomenal. It was packed to the brims. Again, it's not a knock on the other wrestling promotions, but when you don't have to use the black tarp to hide off or have everyone or the hard camera side completely ghost town, it kind of picks up the morale of the performers. And the way they impact TNA build up the arena, it looks phenomenal. I really enjoyed it on TV. I could imagine how it must have been in the arena in Las Vegas. We've seen a lot of different things here from TNA. Of course, we're establishing themselves throughout the beginning of the year, changing the titles from Impact to TNA titles, all the different titles, different belts. The new design looked phenomenal. The presentation on TNA, it's working. Now, I asked the question, is TNA back? On my video, well, if it is, wrestling fans, get ready to embrace yourself, because by the end of 2024, we might have a number 2 promotion in wrestling. And it's not going to come from the Con Man or All Elite Wrestling. It might be coming from Scott D'Amore and TNA. And maybe you might say over one pay-per-view, you're already losing your bananas, your mind, your marbles, you over one premium live event pay-per-view. No, it's what they've been building as Impact. I've been covering Impact Wrestling for about a year now on the channel, when I, not just WWE, not just NXT, but also Impact. And I've been a big fan of Impact Wrestling. I still think they're one of the top knockouts division in women's wrestling in all of wrestling all across the board. I always say NXT women's division, then comes Impact women's division, then WWE women's division. That's how strong I feel on what Impact does, what they present week after week, month after month with their knockouts women's division. But let's go right into some of the card. I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can. You have Rich Swann take on Steve Maclin. I like that Rich Swann. That was an early kickoff show there. I love that Rich Swann gave a little bit of Flash Funk vibes there, or Too Cold Scorpio with that bodysuit. Good job there. And of course, they put on a hell of a match. Rich Swann is one of the most underrated wrestlers in Impact TNA Wrestling. I got to get rid of the Impact, just call it straight up TNA. TNA Wrestling, because he just does it with the high flying, his in-ring, the presentation. And I can't even compare him to an R-Truth, because R-Truth is still doing and getting over at his age at 51 and doing phenomenal things at the Judgment Day. But Rich Swann has that charisma. And of course, Steve Maclin, his presentation on the in-ring, hardcore, badass. The dude is just one of those type of assassins, with Maclin going over on Swann. Interesting what they didn't see with him on NXT when he was in NXT. I could see he could be a little generic at times, but man, a right push there, and he's in the right company, to be honest with you. TNA for Macklin. Then you had Joe Henry interrupts AJ Francis with, Top Dollar, of course, with DJ Whoop Kid singing their "We Outside." Good job for AJ Francis to get a opportunity in TNA, and also we saw him, I believe, in GCW running around the Indies, and TNA will be a phenomenal stop for him, my opinion. He'll get some more in ring. I've always been a fan of AJ, which AKA Top Dollar. I want to see Top Dollar what he did to Joe Henry, annihilate him. I mean, destroyed him in that brutal. I always complain about it when he was with Hit Row in the WWE. They should have been, yes, he should have been a heel, but he should have just veered away from Ashanti Adonis and as well as B-Fab and just done a single heel run like I hate to say like a Suge Knight tycoon or mobile of, like you could have had some backstage vignettes when him starting a fight, like going into the locker room and say, "This is my locker, get out," and just being possessive and getting into wrestling storylines that he was going to take things that wasn't his, and that top heel with the cigar. I wish they would have cast him that way, but of course it didn't work out for the better, because I think AJ Francis is just going to reinvent himself, and I think he's going to be phenomenal there as a top heel for Impact TNA Wrestling. And of course, his first feud, Joe Henry. He actually going to make him believe in Joe Henry. He's going to make him believe in Cheez-Its, not to get in that man's face, because he totally annihilated him there. He just got one thing I got to give a criticism to Top Dollar is a little bit of his promo. Be assertive, be mean. Don't need the cornball stuff. And I mean it with all peace and love. I really like AJ Francis. Just a little bit of the pitching of the voice, leave it. Don't need to add extra voice. Just sometimes silence speak volumes. And you just with that mean mugging face, believe me, you would have you could connect to an audience who's watching you with that fear. Don't have to open up your mouth sometimes, not all the time. When you cut that other one, that was a little cornballish, but hey, you know what? You still presented. I wouldn't want to say that in your face, because you're probably 6'8", and my goodness, will totally obliterate anyone who says that seriously. So, but just as an outsider looking, that's just only my minor criticism on that. There, you have Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian taking on Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. Of course, there's a lot of back and forth with this here. Those are you could say, TNA pillars, from when Dixie Carter was in charge. Now, and Impact Wrestling diehards there. I've always saw Kazarian go to AEW for a bit, return. Young was with the WWE for about a year, returned back. Those are the guys that they could say they call TNA home. And they put on a hell of a match there. I mean, the match it was a good match. Logical booking. Edwards and Myers defeat Kazarian and Young there you appreciate what they meant, those veterans there. If you've been watching TNA back in the mid 2000s with the card, when they had the X division with Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, into the Aces of Ace. If you're one of those diehard there that watched it and seen Kazarian come up, and Myers and Edwards and Young, to see them there when they're relaunching and bringing that brand up again under that banner, TNA, you enjoyed it. It touched your strings in your heart, and those four competitors are not over the hill either. That's the thing that was more appreciative. They're not over the hill. They could still be in major storylines, as you see that there with Alicia Edwards and of course, and Frankie's wife getting inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple months ago. I really like that with that match. To see them there, and you could tell they're going to go in good hands going forward, because they have a sprinkle of very young talent with some veterans and entertaining. If you look, TNA Wrestling, in my opinion, gives you a little bit of everything: sports entertainment, storylines, and very good wrestling. That's why I asked the question, is TNA back? And I asked you guys, brace yourself, because they are going to take up momentum and steam into possibly being the number 2 wrestling organization. You might disagree with me, but that's okay. That's why we have these debates and these conversations. And I enjoy that. So I would love to hear your feedback there. In a match that I think a lot of people on, at least on the Twitter or the social media platform, they were enamored with the outcome, was digital media champion Tommy Dreamer taking on Crazy Steve, where Crazy Steve takes it to the brink, beats the hardcore legend Tommy Dreamer, and takes away that digital media title to the delight of the Twitterverse. People thought, why is Tommy Dreamer in wrestling? Why he should there? Look, the guy is there. There's always a place for a dreamer in wrestling. That feel good veteran that's there, that could, and even if he's not winning you over as a wrestling fan, but he's there teaching the young talent how to be professionals, how to conduct themselves, how to get the oohs and ahs from the crowd. Dreamer still brings it. I know some people wonder, can he stop with the look? There's always room for Dreamer. Dreamer will stop wrestling when he decides in his heart, when his body cannot take any more bumps. For now, let's enjoy it, because guess what? Guys like Dreamer, who's a hard worker, who epitomates longevity and the love and the passion for the business. That's what Tommy Dreamer is. Good job there, Steve. Crazy Steve used the 4 gimmick. Of course, he gets the victory. We have a new digital media champion. Hopefully that feud is over. Crazy Steve moves on to another person steps up to Crazy Steve for that digital media title. That's a nice mid-card title for TNA to go forward. They open up the pay-per-view with one of my favorites. Besides the Queen of the Mountain, it is the Knockouts Ultimate X champion. They put a big X across. If you're new to TNA, solely different gimmick. You have an X across suspended in the air, similar to Money in the Bank, but the only difference is you have to get up top, go through the wire, bring the X down. It's not over just grabbing the X. You have to grab the X, come on down, gotta reach the floor of the ring to declare the winner. Back and forth there. We saw some debuts. Azia Brookstone, formerly from NXT UK, now in TNA. Of course, you get Tasha Steele, the Boricua Badass, Alicia Edwards, Giselle Saw, Judy Threat, and Dana Luna. These ladies put on a hell of a match. I mean, they deserved the chant of this was awesome. For an opening match, what a way of opening the pay-per-view. It got the crowd invested. It got everyone going. Tasha Steele. 2024 is going to be a big year for her in TNA Impact. I mean, she's just one of my favorites, of course. I think she's just going to be phenomenal. And you saw Giselle Shaw getting that X, getting on the floor, and now she's the winner of the Ultimate X. So good job there. Wow. I wanted to also highlight the Shaw spear on Luna. Oh my God. Man, and wiping out thread as she hang from the cables. I mean, these ladies, again, if you're new to TNA Impact and that's one of the first matches you see, I advise you to watch Slammiversary 2 years ago, the Queen of the Mountain match, the spot with Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo off the ladder onto the tables. I mean, that whole match was just bonkers. Kudos to those TNA women present, past, and current, put on some great matches, in my opinion there. You had a tag team that became a 6-man tag. Of course, Dirty Dango gets in the ring, hates TNA. Dirty Dango just cuts the ultimate heel. Of course, he has Alpha Bravo and Augie Provis. We know him in WWE. Formerly, I forget his name, formerly was in WWE. And then you get the French-Canadian Frankenstein. PCO returns, of course, signed back with TNA. Of course, he comes out. They jump him. Dirty Dango defeats via the Q, but out comes Santino Romero. He brings out Rhino as well as Jake Awesome. 6-man tag. Your heroes prevail. They win. They beat Dirty Dango off of Bravo and Brutus. and everyone felt good there. Oh, here we go. Vladimir Koloff. There you go. It was Vladimir Koloff in the WWE. I forget his name. I had to scroll down and look at that. In a Knockouts tag team match, and a surprise to me, we have MK Ultra, Returning Decay come out, Rosemary, and what a spot between Rosemary and Killer Kelly. I mean, Rosemary's laying flat on her back. Killer Kelly crawls over in a kind of a provocative way, a spooky way, and then Rosemary just rises and pushes Kelly all the way to the back. I mean, aesthetically wise, I'm not even doing it justice. You have to see that. I mean, it was just tantalating. It was phenomenal there. We get new tag team champions. MK Ocho, who had those titles for quite some time there as Knockouts champion, Rosemary Havoc, the winners, and it's good to see where they're going to go with that. There right now, Impact has some interesting storylines when it comes to the women's knockouts with either tag team. And now, of course, good thing is to have Rosemary and Havoc back in there to see where they go with that. They set up storylines again. Rematch. We know that rematch is coming. We'll see on that. Then we have some news. Again, Scott D'Amore doing phenomenal things with TNA. Makes a deal, brings out the president of AAA Lucha Libre, and now they're announcing that they're going to have a working partnership. Love to see that there. Everyone thought it was going to be WWE. Remember, he said worlds collide. Everyone thought it was going to be, since they were on the TNA Plus, their launching of their new application that is owned by Endeavor, the parent company of the WWE, TKO Holdings. We all thought maybe they're going to have some of the WWE rosters or someone invade or come to TNA to just become who's on a current roster with the WWE. It wasn't that way. It was AAA Lucha Libre. I loved it because out comes the triple threat match. It became a triple threat. X Division champion Chris Sabin, Kushida, and taking out versus El Hijo del Valquinho. So it was a triple threat match. You all know El Hijo del Valquinho. We've seen him all over AEW. We all know him on the internet with all the flips and flops and all the high-flying extra stuff that he does in the ring. Puts his body on the line. And my goodness, this match was 3 outstanding, talented wrestlers. I mean, this was fast-paced. I mean, the oohs and ahs. You could not go out and get a soda, go out and get something to drink. If you had to use the bathroom, you had to hold it because this match was so quick, competitive. One of the best matches of the night, you could say, pretty much. They showcased their talents of the athleticism and speed. At the end, you have Chris Sabin pinning his own time machine partner in Kushida for the victory there. But not for nothing, Hijo de Banquinho, we need to see more on TNA wrestling. I think there he looks more comfortable. He looked more comfortable there and more than he does on All Elite Wrestling. He seems a little nervous because you see him sometimes not execute his moves so crisp or clean. When because AEW Botch, that's a guy on Twitter, and giving him a shout out, putting him over. There's a tons of videos of him always kind of botching or 3 or 4 times to just do a regular flip off the ropes, and that doesn't really look good when you're on a live television. But this pay-per-view, Valquinho looked phenomenal, and Valquinho does phenomenal moves. I mean, sometimes I wonder how long is his body gonna last. Him and Ospreay, my goodness, those guys, they're incredible high flyers, incredible entertainers. And it was Doran Roland was there to accept the partnership for AAA. We know Conan is involved in that, but it's good to see what that partnership goes in a match that I wanted to look forward to because I never seen him wrestle. I've heard so much good things about him from my channel. Everyone that watches along with us and tells us about. Of course, you had the walking weapon, Josh Alexander's taking on a free agent, maybe doing a one-off here or a tryout match, Alex Hammerstone. Now, when I look at Alex Hammerstone, I think, man, this guy checks the box here. His physique looks phenomenal. Not quite too tall, but I'm not gonna judge that there. But he looks like trying to think of a better comparison. A really super beefed up. Rest in peace, there, Chris Benoit. Just physique wise, I mean, man, he just or like a Shane Douglas Remember Shane Douglas? He looked so but so muscle bound. But boy, did these guys bought it. Of course, you could say that Alexander, the walking weapon, is pretty much the face of TNA Impact Wrestling, one of their best wrestlers there. You know, he's their best. And taking on MLW's best. So you really had like a forbidden door best of the best between these two, and they delivered. The crowd was just on their feet. I mean, back and forth, move for move. If you had doubts, because I didn't know who Alex Hammerstone really was. I can't watch so many wrestling companies, and I would love to get into MLW and GCW, but I just don't have enough time in the day there. Just to watch all, I'm watching all the other, to be going live to TNA and watching WWE, TNA, and then a little bit of New Japan when I can, and keeping an eye on and hearing what's going on with All Elite Wrestling. It's a lot, plus baseball, basketball, and all the other sports that we cover on this network. It's a lot for me. So for me, I would love to get into MLW, but when I saw this guy can hang. If there's a free agent, if he hasn't had the full contract, they got to go get this guy. I don't want to say WWE because he will be good in WWE, but it just can't be sounding so greedy to grab every wrestler for the WWE. Personally, I would love him to stay in TNA. For Hammerstone to stay in TNA, be part there, have a faction group where he's going to be a heel, and I don't know what his microphone skills is, so I don't know how good on the mic he is. I haven't heard him cut a promo, but I'm hear from my chat that he's good. So I'm not going to go against my people that comes and watch along with me a lot on me. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Heel in the Ring podcast. We do all the WWE watch alongs, as well as TNA now, as well as NXT every Tuesday night. So yes, check a look at that on the Sports Jedi Network. It's the YouTube channel, Heel in the Ring podcast. We invite you to join us and be part. Get your voice be heard. We acknowledge everyone in the chat. Everyone's part of the program. You put a question or a comment, it gets highlighted. We acknowledge it, we read it, and we answer it back. So we encourage you there. So thank you for that quick one, that quick little side note. We see Josh Alexander win. He has a C4 spike, and of course, hardly anyone kicks out of that. And of course, Alexander gets that victory. But I was very impressed. You know what they're all saying is you could go over without getting over. I think Hammerstone got over. It was a great showcase for him. He's just perfect. I mean, perfect physical marvel, and he showed that he could go. He could go in the ring with one of the best in wrestling. So, if you're a company, you better think about bringing Hammerstone in. I don't know if we want to go to NXT for Hammerstone. I don't know if that's beneath him, but if to bring Hammerstone in at a la Dragon Lee type of deal, where if he really kicks it out of cylinders, not that much of a get him into the WWE system, get him know how WWE works, promo wise, how to conduct themselves, or the travel schedule, get all that acclimation with Alex Hammerstone, and you get the ball rolling. Wouldn't mind seeing that it's another fresh face in the WWE. But personally, TNA will be a great spot for him, and even All Elite Wrestling, wouldn't be a bad spot. They could use a heel. More heels. They could bring a heel there, just totally menacing. I don't know. I don't know what he looks like a heel. I don't know if he's a baby face. He looks like a total heel. Bringing in that company under a Don Callis, where he just brings some heat. He looks the part. Personally, I mean, again, you can't sign everyone, but I could see him in WWE being a menace, or in TNA, or in NXT. Get him there. I mean, just think of him and Braun, those two going at it there. My goodness, in NXT, you haven't given nothing to Braun Breaker to do, or Lexi King. You bring a Hammerstone in there, the possibilities there. But we'll see where Alex Hammerstone goes. Maybe we'll go to New Japan Wrestling. They're losing a lot of talent, and a Hammerstone will be beneficial on a New Japan to go there, learn that style, strong style, make himself a big star, and possibly fill the shoes of a Will Ospreay. Now, I'm not saying he's going to fill it completely, but take off that mantle and be that next guy that do to evolve in New Japan for Hammerstone. We'll see. But the future's bright for that guy, wherever he chooses. We have a fatal 4-way tag team match for the TNA men's tag team. We have, of course, the champions ABC Austin and Chris Bay, the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. Of course, Grizzly Young Veterans. We used to know them as the Dyads. Of course, Howler and Jagger from NXT, and of course Mike Speedball and Laredo Kid. Now I think Laredo Kid was supposed to be Trent Seven with Mike Bailey. I think there was an issue there, but all in all, this is another fatal four-way tag team match. It was non-stop from the opening bell to the closing. Incredible athleticism. That, you know what, these 8 men, first time ever in the ring, especially the Grizzly Young Veterans, had so much chemistry. The match was so well done. You could tell you had 4 teams of professional storytelling wrestling. I mean, from the high flying moves, from the false finishes, from the hot tags, from the epic battles from all these different tag teams. You even had storylines leave after this match here, where we're going to see ABC getting the victory. They defeated the Grizzly Young Vets and the Rascals, Mike Bailey. You could see what went off. You could see a feud now with Zachary Wentz and Laredo Kid with Mike Speedball Bailey. You can see that there. You can see ABC now looking to probably defend one-on-one with the Grizzly Young Veterans. Where is Subculture? We haven't seen Subculture in quite some time. Well, maybe they make a return, because I think they're having contract issues or they're trying to be re-signed by TNA. I don't know that for sure, but I would love to see Subculture return back to TNA. I really enjoy Subculture as a tag team. There's a lot of nice tag teams in TNA, and they know how to do their tag team stories, and they tell a story in the ring with their in-ring. I really enjoy that. We saw that with the veterans, with Kasarian Young earlier, with Edwards. We saw that. And Myers, they could tell good stories. That's why I love about TNA. It's a total different alternative from both WWE and AEW, where we know WWE's big production, good storytelling, everything time. AEW, really good matchmaking, wrestling matches. This has a little bit of everything, and it gives you that variety of difference and not the big names that we're accustomed and ready to see. And that's what TNA offers. And I really like it. I really am a big fan, again, with it. We go right into the Knockouts women's title matchup. Trinity, the champion, taking on Jordan Grace, to the delight of the crowd in the balcony. Of course, covered up in hoodies is Mercedes, a.k.a. Sasha Banks, one of the hottest female free agents in all of wrestling right now, has wrestling Twitter on Storm, in attendance, along with Bailey, WWE's Bailey, in attendance. Both ladies there watching their good friend Trinity. Rumors have it that might be Trinity's final contracted obligations with TNA. The return of WWE might be coming. She might be heading back to WWE. The match, we saw what Trinity has done outside of the WWE, going to TNA, elevating, winning that Impact title, that Knockouts title. The matches she had with Deonna Purrazzo, with Mickie James, people watching, tuning in, people viewing. The viewership has gone up. She was a helpful reason to get more eyeballs on the product for Trinity to finish out. And she had a hell of a match with Jordan Grace, the back and forth counters. But at the end, Jordan Grace had so much power and countering for a Trinity. She gets the win, and she's the new Knockouts champion. Jordan Grace, she is a powerhouse for TNA. We have Mommy in the WWE as the WWE powerhouse. Of course, pretty soon, Jade Cargill. You have each company has a woman that you look. Britt Baker is a pillar in AEW. Jordan Grace, when I think of TNA or Impact Wrestling in the current stage, she is the Knockouts. When you think of her, she is the powerhouse there for TNA. Before that, we were teased earlier in the day with a rival of a lady coming out of a suburban. You saw her heels. You saw she was a blonde woman. It turned out to be, after that match, it was revealed it was Dana Brooks. She's coming. Her name is Ash by Elegance. Her real name is Ashley. She's going to go over her real name, not Dana. Of course, that's the other name. Dana Brooks there, it's good for her to be in TNA. With those knockouts there, they're going to help her elevate her wrestling game and help her tell stories, reinvent herself. I don't know if she's going to have that same impact that Trinity had when she came to TNA, or what, although she really hasn't technically finished up her TNA obligations. But for Dana Brooks, I think she's going to have that impactful run in TNA. I think they're going to help her evolve more her wrestling skills. There's so many good talented workers there. Coaches, Gail Kim, has helped elevate that knockouts. Mickey James, although she's now with OVW, head of female talent there as well. But you got guys there like Bubba Ray, Tommy Dreamer, give a word of advice. I think Dana Brooks, under those guys, under those veteran tutelage who's been in the WWE system, is going to help her reinvent herself. I think Dana Brooks is going to have a nice career there. I don't know if that's going to hold. Maybe she'll hold the title maybe one, and we'll see where it goes, how the crowd reacts, because she has a stigma. Guys or the crowd tends to not really like her. It wasn't her fault that they elevated her from NXT to the main roster so quick and really didn't do much with her. That 24/7 stink has to get washed off on Dana Brooks, and hopefully that does that in the knockouts division with TNA there. We get to the main event, world title. Alex Shelley taking on Moose. Moose, my God. By the way, Moose, I think he lost like about 35 pounds and he shredded muscle. I mean, he was a big dude already. He still is. But Moin, he is lean, mean machine. Alex Shelley, a hell of a TNA champion, defending champion. He takes on all comers in a match there where you're going to see how is his speed and his technical skills going to deal with Moose's power and ability and agility. This match, back and forth. We saw Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, Alicia, the system come out with also D'Angelo Williams out of all people. And of course, Chris Sabin and Kushida comes out to do some interference. The Motor City Time Machine comes out. Of course, would allow their back and forth match with some good moves. Again, what helped this match to me, sold me more, was the transformation of Moose's physique. He's not just a big oaf. He is thin, moving quicker, and that helped him later on in this match because he hits Alex Shelley with a nasty spear and gets the victory 1, 2, 3 to become the new Impact champion. Now, I know if you've seen it already and you're like, okay, I know that, but what was for Moose? That's a big accomplishment, becoming a 2-time champion, and he just fits the par as a face of a company. Alex Shelley as well. Don't get me wrong. But when I think of Alex Shelley, I think of a Motor City Machine Guns. I'm thinking of tag team glory, tag team. And there's nothing wrong of a tag team holding a world title. It's nothing wrong with that. But Moose fits the bill of, especially if you're rebranding with TNA, you see that guy, you're like, whoa, I ain't messing with it. If you're like, especially now AAA, working partnership with TNA, and you send Moose to defend that TNA title in Mexico, you're like, ooh, wait a minute, who's this big guy? And I can hear the people like, whoa, this guy is the champion? Oof. Now, no disrespect against Alex Shelley. I'm pretty sure they know him in AAA. I'm pretty sure he's wrestled Motor City Machine Guns, wrestled many times in AAA. They seen him. They know he's a high flyer. There could be an opportunity that our best could possibly pin their best. So that's why I like the aesthetic of Moose being the champion, but the party didn't last that long. In come from behind, and we get the picture, the lights. Nick Nemes, aka Dolph Ziggler, his picture comes out on the Tron, and he's a free agent making an appearance. We saw him the most wanted man. Of course, we saw him in New Japan Wrestling there with Finley, David Finley. They got into it, and now here he makes an impact. Literally at TNA, no pun intended, gets behind, gets face to face to Moose. They have a verbal exchange. Then he goes out to the crowd in a scene that was just phenomenal. He has a Motley Crue shirt. He rips his Motley Crue shirt, and underneath it, he has a TNA. And he said he's making it known that he is with TNA. And they go off the air. I was like, what a way of all the signings and all the surprises, because they didn't do it like, man, we got fans, we got to go, we out of time, like they do elsewhere. They brought the new people. They let the fan base there breathe, marinate. Everyone breathed and absorbed it. From AJ Francis in the ring, although AJ announced he was coming, but being interrupted by Joe Henry, he got into it in physical. Then Dana Brooks, earlier they teased her arriving. They waited until the women's knockout match. They brought her out, revealed her. And their fans got to breathe. They showed her that she was in camera, and she was there. Took the head to show a shot of her, and of course, people saw who she was. Great. At the end, with Nick Nemeth, aka Ziggler, he got in the ring face to face. They had an exchange. Then he went to the crowd. He got into the crowd. And that shot of him ripping his shirt, and TNA and the crowd serenading TNA. Those are the type of things that get you invested. If you missed the pay-per-view and you watch the highlights or on Twitter or on YouTube, you're going to see the best. And you're going to, you know what? I need to tune into this. Now, my question is, wrestling fans, is this enough for you to want to continue to watch? Here's the negative about TNA right now. They're on Access TV. Not everyone who has cable carries, or their providers carry Access TV. I'm able to get it because I'm on Direct TV. You could also get it through the YouTube channel. Now you have the TNT Plus. I mean the TNA Plus. The TNA Plus, I believe, is $9 a month. Similar to the WWE Network, you get the library, you get all the premium live events, because they changed it now to premium live events instead of pay-per-view. You get to watch that there. Snake Eyes happened 24 hours ago as I'm recording this video. Said there was some wonderful things in Snake Eye. Okada was there. Ospreay. Great back and forth. They're setting up one more match between Jordynne Grace and Trinity for the Knockouts title. I believe that's going to be her one-off, her last match. She will not take that title. I believe Jordynne will defend it, and then we'll see her at the Royal Rumble for Trinity. Let me ask you this, guys. Let me ask you this. Do me a favor. Give TNA a opportunity on their next pay-per-view. If you don't have Access TV, I understand you can't follow it. So much wrestling to consume. Next pay-per-view, take a look at it. Order. If you look, we all spend $10 on junk. When you go stop at a gas station, either for 7-Eleven or Wawa, you spend $10 on a couple energy drinks and a bag of chips. For $10, order it for a month. Take a look at it. Check out, if you're old time TNA, you can see some of their library. You're gonna enjoy it. Give them an opportunity, because they are ascending. I'm telling you right now, get on that TNA boat, because by the end of 2024, they're gonna be, especially the way the other company has so many backstage issues, worrying about what former champion is gonna wrestle, how many wins he hasn't wrestled, how many wins he hasn't had in years, and yada yada, all that politic BS. This stuff, you don't hear that from TNA. You don't hear BS. You hear a good wrestling show, good wrestling. The only issues is the wrestlers don't stick around too long because they get poached by the big companies. So by us supporting TNA, they'll become a Impact, literally, and these wrestlers could stay there. And they could get long contracts, for a year or two, then they'll move on. But if they're usually per appearances or short term, they end up going to the big companies and get lost in the shuffle. Look at Eric Young, got lost in WWE. He didn't even come on camera. Look at Frankie Kazarian, was miserable in AEW. Look at Tyra Valkyrie, not doing nothing in All Elite Wrestling. She could have been in TNA, being part of that Knockouts. So we have to support them. Hopefully they get going, they get up and coming. Continue to bring in some flux or cash, and they're going to be in my city in Orlando, in Kissimmee, on the 19th. Personally, I won't be able to go. I was supposed to go to that event, but I had other commitments, couldn't go. They'll be here for the 2 tapings. They'll be here for 2 nights of tapings in Orlando, in Kissimmee. If you're in the Kissimmee, Orlando area, there's still tickets available. Give them an opportunity there. I am not a paid endorsed guy from TNA nor WWE. Just love wrestling. Tomorrow is NXT, so we usually normally go to the Performance Center. Again, we're not affiliated with anybody from those companies. We just love wrestling. We're just a wrestling fan from a wrestling fan. So I want to thank you guys for allowing me to talk to you about it. Personally, Hard to Kill was an excellent pay-per-view. I'm going to watch it again with some time when I have extra time because that's how good it was. For an opening pay-per-view of 2024 was phenomenal. Was really good. Which is great for wrestling because now it makes WWE kick it up a notch. Also, All Elite Wrestling, guess what? If you have someone on your heels, you can't worry about your bigger brother. You have to worry about the younger one or the forgotten one, not the younger one, because TNA has been around for almost 20 plus years. The forgotten company, and they're not forgotten anymore. So you have to, you know what? It helps the whole business because now you have to put up a better product. Fans would just go to it. We're wrestling fans are smart. They're not going to go to something that doesn't entertain them and they can't get invested in. And TNA, I'm telling you, you'll get invested in. So I want to thank you guys allowing me to talk to you, give you my personal opinion, my personal thoughts. That's all my personal thoughts, my opinion of TNA. Give it an opportunity, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be entertaining with you. Like the video, share, subscribe. We'd love to hear you on a live. Come on when we do a live. Give me your thoughts on the wrestling, your comments. Put in the comments below. I don't like to do a lot of news and notes because that's all rumors and gossip. Do I tell it when I watch the watch-alongs? Absolutely, because that's something you have to report. But to make up stuff, I'm not going to make up anything about any other wrestlers because it's not fair. But I want to thank you guys for the support. Again, you can follow us on all the social platforms at Twitter X, at BXJedi76. You could email me the same thing at gmail.com, or you could just follow us here on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Trivia, Rumble, anywhere we get it. We are at Sports Jedi Network. The BX is for the Bronx, and we'll see you next time. May the sports be with you, and peace out.
Acknowledge me.
Not tonight. So shut up.
Los Angeles, Montreal, the whole world.
Oh God, here goes. I lost all